assessing is what we better do with everybody in our life, right? So there's three things that have the biggest effects on who we are, who we will become, where we're going to go, and the life that we're going to live, right? It's everything's on it. Happiness, everything. And it's people, places, and things. People, places, and things, right? The people that we hang around is who we will become. Mm-hmm. The places that we go is who we will become. That we spend the most time at is where we're going to become. Mm-hmm. The things that we do, the things that we take in our body, the things that we bring in, whether it's like conversations we engage in, or the TV that we watch, the shows that we watch, or it's all of these three aspects. Where we invest our time is what we're going to return and what we're ultimately going to become. Right. So our circle's big. And so for me, yeah, like, it started out here in Austin, though. I got to Austin and started out with Tim Kennedy. Mm-hmm. Because we're veterans, and I'd reached out to Tim, and he's always been kind, and he started taking me down to On It. On It's at, mm-hmm. right? And I started working out with, Juan Leja, Eric Leja, John Wolf. I just started working out on it, right? And just going in there and just getting after it with everybody. Right. And that's where it kind of started for me, was there. And, then eventually, like I don't think that people are supposed to come in your life forever. Mm-hmm. I think that people are just, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like, like on an ultra, you run with people for a certain amount, and either they take off, yep, or you fall back. But either way, like, you'll sit there and bullshit with them and have a conversation with them, and then, next thing you know, who knows where you're at, right? And they might have gut issues, but again, like, if you just try to stick with one person or a group of people, essentially you're going to end up where they end up. Yeah. And so for me, I'm always assessing, like, hey, are we going the same direction? Like, do we have the same priorities? Are we trying to achieve the same thing? Mm-hmm. And then you have to always be assessing if they're doing that. And then, hey, is this person making me better? Like, are they making me worse? And it's not that everybody has to make you better. They don't have to come in and just bring all this great stuff and make you better. But, like, the relationship has to be beneficial. And it's not like, oh, you need to support me, you need to do this. It's not that. It's, even if, like, a lot of people that come in my life, they're not supportive of me. Some people I learn the most from and I get the most value from are the people that don't like me, the people that don't agree with me, and the people that don't want to put up with me, or that are negative towards me. And why? Because it helps me. If you're only going to surround yourself with people that tell you how great you are, and that are easy to deal with, and that are motivated, well, you're going to ultimately become weak, because when you're not around motivated people, you're going to fail. Yeah. And so for me, man, I get the most a lot of times out of these people that don't like me, that see things different than me, that think mm-hmm. I'm a piece of shit, because it teaches me patience. Mm-hmm. It teaches me how to, like, man, if I can help lead, or if I can find commonalities between that person, right, I can do it with anybody. Yeah. And so for me, man, yeah, like, I started out with them, and Brandon Harrell, still a good buddy of mine, and Shane Steiner, and now it's like, but as you go different ways, as you're trying to achieve more things, you just have to keep surrounding yourself by people that are trying to achieve that same thing. Right. And now that I'm running, I'm around Dre and Keegan, there's a badass running community down here. And so, getting to go out and spend time with them. I went out to Cam Haines and ran with him, did his podcast with him, his Lift Run Shoot. What an awesome guy. But really the only magic that I have in my life is that I seek out people that are way better than me. Yeah. Whenever I'm trying to achieve something. Mm-hmm. And then I spend as much time as I can with them, just getting beat up every day. Because, man, if I can get to where I'm average to them, mm-hmm. then it means that I'm going to be great where I want to be,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm surrounded by so many incredible people. You know, Jocko is a good friend of mine. You know, in the fire service, man, like, you know, I'm a firefighter as well. And I surround myself with badass people like, you know, Jason Jeffries. You know, I've got, you know, Chief Hayden. I mean, like, I literally am just, I tell people all the time.
Killers all around you.
Just killers. If you can't beat me, you definitely don't want to touch my team.
Right.
If you can't beat me all day long and it be easy, you don't want to stand in the circles of the people that I stand in.
Right. There's a saying in recovery, it's, you know, you walk into the rooms of recovery, you surround yourself around people that have what you want in life. And not even just saying material things, but, you know, honesty, character, family, friends, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, when it came to the physical stuff, once I got in it, I was never scared. And so, you know, Paul Terranova.
Yeah.
So Paul was somebody that I became connected with pretty early. And so here I'm out at running camps with Paul, and I'm sitting there naive as hell talking shit to him, like, come on, Paul, let's race, let's go. Like, I knew what a beast he was, but it was just me trying to, like, get going and like that. And so it's like, I don't want to be, me personally, I don't want to be in commercial gyms. I want to be in a gym where there's some just bad motherfuckers around that I just look around and see inspiration. And I never want to be the smartest guy in the room. I just always want to be learning. And that's a big thing, man. I think so many people in today's world, you know, I feel like the angry old guy sitting there saying, like, today's generation, but man, if you're comfortable around your people, something's not right. Like, I want people to make me uncomfortable and make me feel like I gotta raise the bar.
Yeah, because, you know, but see, what people get wrong a lot is they think they're competing against other people, right? And it's like, I'm only competing against other people because I'm competing against myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, we could go out here and run like it's Ironman. Dude, whether I cross the finish line or not, whether I go and achieve my goal of becoming under 10 hours or not, I'm going to win no matter what, because if I get broke, I at least know where that threshold is and where I have to push through it next time. Like, no matter what, I'm going to win. And that's what people don't understand is I am getting better no matter what.
Right.
Like, I'm getting better no matter what. And where most people's goals are, they ain't nothing but a fucking milestone to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I become an Ironman, okay, what's next?
That's the gift and the curse right there.
What's next, right? But it's all with the purpose of, you know, as much as me doing this Ironman training and spending hours and hours and hours, yeah, I'm learning a lot about being a triathlete. I'm learning all about biking and running and nutrition and all this. I'm learning all that. And people are like, well, I mean, what's that going to help you do in life? Well, you're right. Like me knowing the difference between a cassette and a, you know, or a, you know, me knowing the difference between a TT bike or whatever, right? It's really not going to help me in my everyday life at all. That's what people don't get is I'm not, this Ironman training, it ain't about me learning how to be a damn Ironman or triathlete. You ought to know the shit that I'm learning about myself every day on these workouts. When I'm out there and I'm like, fuck this, I'm quitting. Mm-hmm. Why am I doing this? This is stupid. And I don't quit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's like leveling up again. And it's like every time that like that, it starts to simmer up, that little bit of bubbling of doubt, of frustration, of the wind's blowing today, like this is bullshit. I'm going to just go turn around and not do the workout.
Right.
Every time I don't do that, I fucking win.
Yep.
And I get better and I get stronger. And when I get stronger, I'm able to be more for everybody else.
Right. That it is so true. The 100-mile race I did, the one they did the documentary on, there's a part about 3/4 through, it's like mile 70 or something, and I come through and I'm slurring my words, I'm so calorie deficient, I'm not making sense, but I'd went all this at like, you know, I didn't know enough yet about nutrition and all this, and so here I don't know what's wrong, I'm starting to talk about dropping from the race, and luckily there was he's like an angel on my shoulder, but it was a guy I'd been running a bunch of miles with who noticed that, and so he's the one that talked me into going back out on the course, and so he starts shoving calories into me, and by the time I come to the next aid station, I'm like popped back alive, like, man, I had a little meltdown back there, and everybody always laughs at it, but that right there, like, it was such a pivotal moment in my life, because I would have sat there and told you, as sure as my life, like, I'm done, I don't got nothing left, And here I was able to take it another, 30, 35 miles and finish that. But then you start going through like everyday life, and all these normal problems that at one time in my life would have just shattered my life are just like, yeah, man, it's whatever, cool. Like, we're going to push through it. And so just like you're saying, what you're learning about yourself, your threshold, your tenacity, everything like that, it translates into every other aspect of life to me. And I just wish more people were willing to get out there and push themselves. It doesn't got to be crazy. You don't got to go run 100 miles, no. But get out there and go for a walk. Get out there and run a couple hills.
But think about this, man. You know why? And exactly that moment you just talk about is exactly why we all have to get stronger. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you why. Like that guy so first off, he recognized it. Mm-hmm. Then he knew what to do.
Brotherhood,
right? Because I guarantee the majority of people around you, and you can tell me, maybe I'm wrong, they're looking at you like, yeah, man, it's all right, man. You went 70 miles.
Yeah.
Like, dude, man, if you can't finish, it's okay. Most of them did that.
Yeah.
Like, they were willing to stand there and accept.
That was the thought I was telling myself in my head. I was like, man, if I hang it up at 70 miles, who's going to turn their nose up at that?
Yeah, who's going to turn their nose? That's good, man. I did more than it. You know what I mean?
They won't run that in their entire life.
Yeah.
Who's going to say that?
Who's going to say that, right? And everybody else around you, though. But think about this: everybody else around you was willing to let you justify that and do that.
Right.
Right.
I didn't know you could have a crew then, so there was nobody. But you're right.
But I'm saying, like, whatever, right? But on the backside of it, this guy, he seen that, knew what to do. Mm-hmm. And he came over and did it. Do you want to know why and how he recognized that? Because he'd done it before.
Yeah.
He'd been there.
Good point.
He'd been there. And guess what he didn't do? He didn't fucking stop.
Yeah.
And so guess what? He knew what was on the other side of that. Or who knows? Maybe he had been there and did stop and he lived with it forever.
And knew what,
And knew what not doing this meant, right? A dude came to you. He spotted it. He came to you. And he told you how to get through it, and he led you through it.
Yeah.
And now you're thankful for it, and now look how strong you are. But because you hit that low moment, now guess what you have the power to do?
Right.
Recognize it and help somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, man, in life. Whether it's changing a tire, whether it's seeing somebody having a bad day, going through a bad relationship thing, that is why we have to push to these moments of breaking and failure. Mm-hmm. In order to get through them and get back up, not just for us, but so that when we see somebody else hit that point, that we can help them get up.
Yeah.
The more we go through and the more we struggle with, and think about this, man, that you feel like that was probably a big moment in your life, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
It helped you achieve one of the biggest things that you've done. Imagine if that first sergeant had been able to do that. Imagine if that first sergeant had been mm-hmm. addicted to drugs at that moment or been addicted to opioids and had got through it. Imagine if he had dealt with his mental health somewhere. Imagine if all the people that had sit here and just fucking, yeah, man, I couldn't imagine what you're going through. That is the people that's killing more veterans. There's all the veterans out there and all of them sitting there looking at people going, man, I couldn't imagine what you've gone through. Let's have a beer to it. Man, it's all right. Nobody could understand what you've gone through, man. It's maybe not. But at the expense of who, man?
Yeah.
At the expense of you. Mm. And it's like, you want to be around people that make you feel good? People that support you and your bullshit?
Right.
Your weakness? You're going to be weak.
Yeah.
Get around motherfuckers that hold you accountable. They hold you to the standard of what you're capable of, not what you're living up to.
Right. Yeah. Dude, you painted that in a different way than I've ever thought about it, even with this guy that did that for me at the race. Like, and it's funny how, like, that's how I approach everything in life now, the way with my stuff. I never thought about it like that. That's pretty, you're going to leave me thinking about this the rest of the day now.
It's badass, ain't it?
That is dope. Very
badass.
good.
And it's like, and think about this, man. Like, how many times do you walk, I don't know, like down the road? So I live by a simple motto. If you can, you must. Mm-hmm. If you can, you must, because not everybody can. Mm-hmm. Just like that. Everybody else around you, nothing against them. Nothing against them. I'm sure nobody was out there wanting you to fail or quit. But everybody else, maybe they'd never been to that point. Mm-hmm. This guy's seen it. And you know what? He didn't have to come over and help you. Mm-hmm. He could have said, fuck it, and went on.
Yeah, this is my race. I'm doing my thing. Yep.
not my problem. And technically it wasn't his problem.
Yeah.
It was your problem, right?
Yeah.
But he could, and he did. And look what it did.
Yeah.
Look at the and do you think that guy never? And this is what we don't know is like whether it's somebody walking past, like let's say on the running trail, man. I run past everybody. You know what I say to them? I say good morning.
Right.
I might be the only person that is positive in their life that day.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're going through? They could have gone out on that run thinking nobody gave a shit about them, and they were going to come back and put a bullet in their mouth.
Yeah.
And I said good morning to them, and maybe it let them know that people do care about them, right? You don't know. That dude has no clue other than helping you get past and finish that race. Probably has no clue of what you've done. Look at all this.
Right.
Look at the people you're able to impact. Has no clue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like we don't, if we're only doing shit because of the results that we're trying to achieve, then it's not service.
Yeah.
It's serving ourselves. But doing shit because it's the right thing to do and because we can and we have the ability to do it is what serving others is.
Yeah. I remember when I first started, I come from Youngstown, Ohio. There's no running culture, fitness culture there. There's not shit there. And so luckily I ended up in Austin and discovered Town Lake, and I got into running, and it used to just be the most feel-good place I could go. And I was that guy that's running there. Dude, I'm super insecure. I'm newly sober. I don't have the security blanket of drugs or alcohol anymore. I wasn't ripped or anything. I didn't have wasn't 6% body fat like a lot of these runner guys are. But that's why I think that's why I started gravitating towards trail running once I started getting into it, because the culture is so much different than road running.
Yeah.
But you just get out there on the trail, and you could be in a competitive-ass race, and you pass somebody or they pass you. Great job, man. Good job. Go get them. And it's just like, oh, shit, you can still be competitive and lift people up and do all that.
Yeah.
And it's just, it was so cool. I didn't know it existed out there. And it's like, I found that. And it was like, all right, like I found my people. Like this
Pretty
is
badass, isn't it?
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, for me, the difference in road running and again, I don't have enough experience to really say, but this is for me. Road running to me is more just mental, right? Like mentally pushing through it. Like how bad can you stay in the shit, right? And we're pretty good at that. For me, man, the ultra I did the Austin Rattler 50K, and for me, I enjoyed that more for the simple fact that it was more emotional. It was more of an emotional than it wasn't. You can't just you can, but like gutting, it's going to tap into that emotional side. On when you start getting up above 20s, you're gonna it starts getting emotional.
Yep.
Right? And it starts, I don't know, man. Like for me, I'd never ran that far. So it was like to be able to push myself past that threshold and to see what's in there, what's in me, what's in those, I'll never forget there was this one point of the run. It's probably like mile 27, maybe 27, 28. And it got pretty dark, you know what I mean? And I just remember thinking like my mind, and I love looking back at it, just seeing how weak I am, like just how much of a bitch I am, right? And my mind just goes in this little like self-pity party of like, why are you doing this? Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit if you finish. Nobody gives a shit if you quit. Nobody gives a shit. Like, why are you doing this? Like, how stupid are you? Like, why would you think this is something you would want to do? And man, I just, like, every foot, like, this hurts. You're going to hurt tomorrow for weeks, and you've got to work. And I went down all, like, and it was so good for me because it just exposed all of my bullshit excuses that I use. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, no. Nope, this ain't it. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, it was a pretty eye-opening moment.
The way I describe a lot of the ultras, or the way I describe it in the documentary, I said me running 100 miles was like a mind, body, spirit thing. Like first thing to go is like my mental stuff, where it's like it starts creeping in. Like I could quit now. No one's gonna say anything. People are still gonna be proud of me, and that was the mental part. And then all of a sudden, that shuts off, and now it's like physical. Like, I don't think my fucking legs can take another step. How am I going to go up this enormous mountain right now and all that? And then after that, it broke through. It was like my mind or my body wasn't carrying anymore. It was strictly spiritual. I don't know what was pushing me to keep going, but thank God, because it taught me everything I needed to know. And it was huge for me coming out, being newly sober, because it was like, I had been getting high for so long now at this point, I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was not the same person I was before I had started putting that stuff in my body. And so it's like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I only identified as Sean the drug addict, Sean the alcoholic. Now, like, oh shit, I just pushed through for 100 fucking miles. Like, I'm all worth a whole lot more than I was giving myself credit for.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
But dude, it's a beautiful thing to be able to do that. And it's like, it's different than when I pushed myself in the military. You know what I mean?
Oh,
because this is like, not that the military wasn't voluntary, but nobody was telling me to do this. This was something I signed up for and did. And I would always joke, it's like I get done with an ultra, and luckily I had a woman that saw something in me, a woman come into my life that saw something in me I didn't see in myself. So she was able to, my first race, she trained me up for trail races, and I did a 10K, and I was, feeling myself. I feel good.
Yeah.
She's like, you can do more. And so she had that attitude, which was...
Dude, that's badass.
It poked my competitiveness. And so I'd do a 30K, next race was a 50K, next race was a 100K. And I'd get done and be like, all right, there's no reason to ever run this far again. I'm good. And then that next day comes around and you're like, I think I can take a crack at 100. And like, you just keep going up. And it's like, all right.
But that's what you need in life, right? Like, that's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're not surrounding yourself... And so I'm big, and I actually had this conversation this morning about, I'm big about titles. One thing that we do that's probably the most dangerous thing that we do as people is we give away titles in our life. Because when you give away a title, they get access.
Mm-hmm.
And they get this perception of what it means to fulfill that title, right? And we usually give titles without accountability or responsibility to have a title in our life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I hear one thing like, oh man, we're brothers. Well, we're not. We're not. Brothers take care of each other. Brothers aren't conditional. Brothers are there for each other. Brothers tell each other what's hard. Brothers push each other to be the best. That's what brotherhood is, right? But we give these titles away, and then these people with no responsibility and no accountability for them to be able to keep that title, and then they end up sinking us, right? And because it's like friends, like friends, like people are like, oh yeah, it's my friend. Well, I mean, he's talking shit. Like, is he? Like, that's weird friends, right? I mean, you should probably have higher standards for your friends, right? That's not what friends do. And so it's like, but we also do the same thing in relationships. Like, oh, we're family. Well, okay. I mean, or, oh, we're married. Okay. Well, but you better continue. If you're going to wake up every day and continue to be a good husband, they better continue to wake up, be a good partner as well. Right? Like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. And if that person doesn't want to grow with you and they don't want to struggle with you and they choose comfort and you leave them behind, like, I think the most detrimental thing to a relationship is when people get married and they think that they can't, that their lack of ability of want to improve and grow is going to be fine, and they get comfortable because they think you're not going to leave because we're married, and that you're all like wake up every day and earn that fucking title, wife or husband.
Yeah. Every
day.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you got it. Like, when the document was signed is when the work starts. It's kind of like having a kid, right? Like, I mean, look, about the most joyful part of it is when you make it. And the responsibility doesn't start until you're a dad.
Yeah.
And guess what? When that day comes, the work hard part comes after you get the title. It's the same thing with everything in life.
Yeah.
The hard part comes after that. And you got to live up to that every day, because all the title means is that you know what right looks like. So now that you know what right looks like, it means that there's no reason that you don't live up to what right is.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like we get so wrapped behind it, but that's badass. That if you're going to have somebody that sleeps in the same bed as you, they better be the person that holds you accountable the most.
Yeah. Thankfully, in that department, I found I got lucky.
I mean, that's what I'm saying is, but I don't think it's a coincidence that you're out here achieving great things and pushing harder. 'Cause, I mean, how hard is it to go home? You know as well as I do. Like, let's say you how hard is it to go home and have drive and be with somebody that has no drive?
Mm-hmm.
It's like choosing to be sober and being married to an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like, how hard is that going to be?
Right.
It's the same thing in life. It's being with somebody that wants to, if you want to achieve goals and achieve greatness, and they are found mediocrity, it ain't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, you're going to always fall to the lowest denominator.
Yeah.
There was one officer in particular that I would see repeatedly, and one day he just stopped me and said, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, well, I'm getting some paperwork ready." And he's like, No. He's like, "Why are you doing this and not this?"
Right.
I was like, "Man, I never thought about it before."
Right.
And he goes, "You should." And I was 21 years old, no other direction in life. And so I sat with that little nugget for a while, and it's like, let's do this. So I started working out. That's how I started going to the gym mostly,
Okay.
right? And get ready for the academy. And it was 9/11 when I was in the academy, had just happened.
Really?
And so like cops were heroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 20 years later, we're being villainized. So it's been quite a journey, but yeah, that was it. Like, that's how I became a cop. And then again, like I said, I loved it.
Right.
And you have to.
So when you were the security officer, you're just kind of walking, patrolling these areas, and you see something and call the police? You called in on them?
Sometimes. So we also, I ran mostly patrol, so I would drive one of the security cars from property to property. I might get out, walk the property a little bit, engage with people, enforce property rules. There was one property, though, it was like, they hung signs that if you're not a resident here, by entering this property, you're consenting to search. And somehow people would let you do it.
Really?
Even as a police officer, it's like, I don't know why people consent to search, but they do.
Right.
So, and then, yeah, and just, you'd come across just different things enforcing the rules.
Right.
And then cops come and they make the arrest.
Gotcha.
So
you get into the police force? And so what does that start to look like for you?
Man, it was fun. Like I said, when I started, cops were heroes.
Right.
Right. And it was also an interesting time because that transition was happening from, if you run, you're going to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But that was still kind of a thing. And I loved doing everything.
Yeah.
I liked coming in contact with people. I liked helping people. And then there's never a dull moment. Every day is different. You get all the ups and downs, adrenaline dumps, but it was always about being respectful to people.
Right.
Because again, remembering that detective from when I was 15, and I had a lot of guys tell me that I've arrested. Hey, miss, thanks for being so cool.
Yeah.
Right. Wasn't always cool.
Right.
But like I tell them, you get what you give.
Right.
If I'm always going to come at you respectfully, but as soon as you change that course or direction, then no games.
I've been a part of both of those. I've never resisted or anything like that, but I remember the first time I got pulled over, and I was driving through just north of Waco, and got pulled over on the highway for swerving or whatever I did, and the guy pulled me over, and I had heroin in my sock, and he got me out of the car, and he went to go search me, and I knew I was caught, and I was just like, man, it's in my sock, dude. And he was like appreciative that I was honest with him, and he was probably one of the coolest cops I ever met.
Besides me.
I mean, of course. But I'm in cuffs, but he let me smoke a cigarette. He let me smoke a cigarette in the car, which might not sound like too much to people.
Yeah.
You're about to go
That's
to county
huge.
jail.
Yeah.
Never doing it. And then I remember the next time that happened, I assumed all cops let you do that. The next time that happened, that and I had gotten arrested, that officer was not so kind to me. But you know what I mean? I think I can at least look back now and realize that, you know, and I've told you this before, thank God I was arrested. Thank God I never killed anybody by accident or, you know, nodded out and behind the wheel and killed a child or something like that. So, you know, at the time when we first had our first conversation, I remember admitting to you, like, at the time I was like, fuck the cops, fuck the police. They're just out there to get me or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now this far removed from them, I'm like, man, thank God they do what they do. And that's, you know, and getting to know you, getting to talk to you, talking about you coming on the podcast, that's one of my biggest things and biggest hopes. And it's been, you know, I think people just sit down and watch an episode of Live PD or Cops and understand what police officers in this country are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And people are out here talking about defunding the police and stuff like that. Like, that's the wildest statement I've ever heard. And thank God we have police officers. They don't make enough. You know, it's sad. I don't know what you think about it, but, you know, driving through downtown Austin now and seeing the sign up on the building that there's like a signing bonus and stuff like that. It's like, wow, they need officers that bad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where they're doing that. Yeah. It's scary.
It is scary. And, you know, like when you watch those type of shows, you're only getting a little snapshot.
Right.
Too. Right. And now understanding kind of like where I'm coming from and just kind of knowing me as a person in the gym and hanging out. You know, I'm bringing myself to this situation and I'm having to approach it from where I'm at.
Right.
You know, and when I come in contact with you, I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. You don't know me. Don't tell me what my prejudices are or aren't.
Right.
Right. And you don't know that if I'm just taking a regular theft call from you, that I just left the fight of my life.
Yep.
Or scraped some kid off the pavement, you know, and it's that constant up and down.
Yeah.
And you never process it. You never have a chance to process it because you're just on to the next call.
That's deep.
And it just is.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you do it?
I'm very good at compartmentalizing.
Right. I remember saying that to me before.
I'm very good at putting things in a box. I think a lot of us are. But I think that's also why there's a lot of alcoholism. There's a lot of divorce. There's a lot of suicide. You know, I've dealt with my own demons. I was pretty destructive for a while too, especially.
You're talking about on the police force.
Yeah.
Right.
And not that long ago. I mean, probably. Well, and that's really where I think my fitness journey started. Was I was drinking bad. It started with a shoulder injury. I got hit by a car at work on a bicycle. I was working Walk and Beat on 6th Street, and we rode bikes a lot. And I got hit by a car. So then I started finding myself drinking to medicate, maybe using my pain pills with alcohol to sleep at night, right? Like, and instead of, I think I just kind of dived into it then, right? And so, and I don't think you and I have ever talked about this part, but also why I was really, this idea really appealed to me, and getting you in touch with our peer support guys, was that I dealt with those struggles, right?
Okay.
I found myself going down a not so good path.
Right.
Started going to counseling, and even that counselor said, I'm not helping you. Like, I think you need to go to AA. Mm-hmm. And I tried that too. I spent 2 or 3 years in AA. I appreciated it. I don't think it was really my thing, but I met some great people. Right. They gave me some good tools. But then I really threw myself into bodybuilding.
Right.
Right. Because you have to be healthy. There is no drinking. Right. And so that's when I started really hitting the gym hard, competing, things like that. Right. So
I was, when you introduced me to the other officers, and I had showed up there that day, and we had sat down in the office, you know, I have like eight other officers or however many it was, and me sitting there and you know,
that's not intimidating at all.
No. Especially for me, like, are they gonna pull up some load here? Right. Make sure I don't got a warrant out right now. But you know, to walk in there, and I was blown away because I was so excited to be taking that meeting. That was unlike any other meeting I had taken before. And I honestly felt like some of them were more excited than I was that I was there. And I was blown away, and it really hit home with me when, you know, a couple of the guys, they come right out and they were like, hey, we have cops in active addiction. We have cops that are in treatment right now. We have officers that go home to a bottle a night that think because they're just sitting in, you know, they're at home, they're not, you know, breaking the law, that they're okay. You know, mental health things and stuff like that. And I just remember sitting back in my chair, and it's like, how more real could, like, oh, they're people too. You know, you automatically assume as a civilian, you see somebody in uniform, like, oh, they're a cop, they must have all their shit together. Right. You know, and I have family, you know, I have distant family, but I have family that lives in other states that are officers, and I know they have issues, marital issues, whatever it is. Right. And so I think if people at large start taking in, like, they're human too, they have fights at home, their kids are bad too, they have childhood trauma, like all these things, and doing that, and then you see, you know, go back to that Cops or Live PD episode and see what they're dealing with on a daily basis. It's like, Jesus.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot to deal with.
Right.
I hope people take the time to really think about that and process that and understand, you know, these people, everybody wants the police defunded until you get robbed or something, or until somebody's in your house, and then, hey, if there's no police, who are you going to?
Right.
You know what I mean? I just learned not long ago, this is kind of off topic, but I just learned about in a traffic stop when they put their fingerprint on the car. And I was like, oh shit, like, why would they do that? And then understanding why they do that, it's like, you have no idea what you're walking up on. Somebody's going to run. They could have kilos of coke in the trunk, and they're ready to kill somebody to make sure they don't go to prison. Yep. Especially, you know, where we live, so close to the border and stuff like that. It's wild.
Yeah.
So you're an officer, you get into the police force, you work your way up the ranks?
No, I stayed an officer. Okay. Mostly because I knew my end goal was to be on the mounted patrol with the horses. Okay. I rode horses growing up. Again, never on the radar to be a cop. I wanted to be a horse trainer. Right. Or go to school for veterinary medicine with an equine specialty. Okay. Right. So, but my early years, I wanted to work the busiest sector in the city. We led the city in violent crime back then. It was like East Riverside area.
I used to live over that way.
Just the fun stuff, right? And it was constant. Spent several years there, and then went downtown. Of course, why not? It's a good time there too. Right. But more specifically, I knew that's where the horses worked. Okay. So I spent several years working on foot and bike, being around the horses, getting to know that unit, and so started going out and training with them. Right. And then finally, when there's an opening, I got on the mounted unit, and I attached myself to their trainer and told her, I want your job. Oh, really? So when she retired,
that was you.
Stepped up. And awesome. So talk about a childhood dream come true, that I'm training horses for a living.
Right. What's it like riding through downtown Austin on a horse as a police officer?
It's pretty awesome.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's got to be a cool feeling.
It's awesome. Yeah. Can be a little sketchy sometimes if your horse spooks and you're on pavement. Oh, yeah. That's a hard fall. Right. We've had horses go down. We've had people go down. I remember one time we responded to a shooting in one of the clubs, and, you know, we're 10 feet over the crowd. And I just remember hoping, like, God, I hope those bullets don't come out, like, out here, because we're going to get hit. Right. Like, but, yeah, it's a pretty magnificent feeling that, one, the horses are amazing, right? Two, that they would go into that. Yeah. And you get to talk to all kinds of people that you normally wouldn't. Like, people that wouldn't come up and just say hi to me standing on the street corner. Right. They'll come up just to see the horse. Right. And so you get to have a little extra interaction with people. It's cool.
I saw a video the other day. It's funny that you're on today, and I saw this video the other day, but a guy walks up to another officer that's, you know, mounted patrol or whatever, and I forget how he said it, but he was like, basically like,
can I pet?
Can I pet? You saw it? And then he starts petting the guy. I was cracking up like that. The cop just looked at him.
Well, if you look closely at that video, he actually kind of balls up at him at first, but then he realized, okay, this guy's not
Yeah. Okay.
And he laughed at him and shakes his hand, right?
I'll have to go back
yeah. But because after that video came out, people were doing it all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You never think about that, but once something like that happens, then everyone's gonna obviously. So are you still out on patrol, or are you just with the horses?
Yep. Well, so I patrol on horseback now.
Okay.
So, and we work 6th Street, like I said, and then anytime there's protests and riots, anytime there's a large crowd of people, we're there.
Right.
So like 2020, 6 months of riots and protests. I'm going to call them riots. They were riots. When people are throwing stuff at us, they were throwing fireworks at us, bottles of urine, bottles of frozen water bottles, sacks of shit. Like, people were screaming at us. That I remember one guy yelling at me that he was going to pull me off the horse and rape me. Like, those are they're not peaceful protesters.
Right.
Like, they were quite violent. But we bring the horses in to move them, and we were more successful, and we didn't hurt anybody as opposed to the other crowd methods, right?
With the shields and all that kind of stuff. Everybody wants to get out of the way.
So the horses are effective, right?
And that doesn't. A horse, when it knows it's going towards this rambunctious, possibly violent crowd, people screaming, throwing stuff, and you guys train them to just walk right forward?
Yep. And we practice natural horsemanship, so it's really about the relationship between the horse and rider.
Okay.
And they have to have the confidence and respect in you as a leader to go into that, because it's totally against their instincts. They're prey animals. Their instinct is to run.
Right.
Right. But
I mean, yeah, you see them. They can get spooked by a snake or just something on the ground that's not even anything, and they just don't know what it is.
Yeah, but yet they're going into chaos.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so it's their trust in you that you know what you're doing.
Yep. And our focus, straight ahead, and yeah.
How long does it take to? How long do y'all work with the horses to get them to that level?
So it's never ending, really, right? But each horse to deploy on patrol is probably 6 to 8 months.
Really?
Some less, some more. But yeah, it takes a while.
That's how. What about in contrast to like a police dog? Like, how long is it? Similar type?
Yeah, they're probably several months of training as well, and they also do ongoing training. Surprisingly similar, but just you're also talking about a predatory animal though too, so it's a little bit different.
Right.
But we both work to the animal's instincts.
Right.
So
going back kind of over your story, what for you was like the defining moment, like maybe your rock bottom moment where, you were, is it that point when you're getting ready to trying to move out to Seattle? Like, do you have a moment? Do you remember it vividly and like what was going through your head?
Yeah, I'm 17, I'm pregnant, I'm engaged to a drug dealer, and I was like, is this my life? Like, what happens to me now?
Right.
And we couldn't go anywhere without him getting into a fight. Like, he'd already been to prison. I remember it was just so surreal. I couldn't believe this was my life.
Right.
And that's when I went to my brother. I said, I just have to get out.
Yeah. And then the other side of the coin, do you have that moment of redemption where like that proud moment where you just kind of took a look in the mirror and you're like, oh shit, like I'm back. I fucking made it. I'm here.
I don't think it really clicked until probably even just a few years ago. I'm living downtown Austin now. I always wanted to be downtown. And I was like, how did I get through all this shit? And here I am doing exactly what I want to do. I'm training horses for a living. I'm living downtown. Like, I've made it.
Right.
I've made it. I was like, I don't know how, but I was like, I'm pretty proud of myself.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. What do you think in your entire journey, what would you say was your most valuable lesson?
So kind of like,
I'll tell mine, you know, why you think about it. Mine was for sure about the people I choose to allow to be around me. I didn't understand it was a choice. You know what I mean? And so like a lot of what I talk about with people today, when I go speak places and I try to get people who are in the same boat as me, in trouble with the law, addiction, all that stuff, is you need to carry yourself like it should be an honor to stand next to you. And people need to be clear on what goals you're working towards and stuff like that. And if those people around you are not helping you support working towards those goals, they need to be cut the fuck out.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's family, friends you've had all your life, stuff like that. Right. You know what I mean? And, you know, I tell people all the time, like I always thought of myself as a leader. All I know, though, is every time I hung around people that did dope, I did dope too. So I wasn't being much of a leader. And the moment that I started putting good energy out in the world and keeping very good people that kind of have what I want in life. They're honest. People want to be their friend. The way they carry themselves and stuff like that. My life completely changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good people wanted to come into my life. Absolutely. Good people wanted to be around me, give me opportunities and stuff like that. And I was like, oh shit, because I always just wanted to hang around the funny guys that talk shit and all that. But that's all I was ever going to be, was just around the funny guys that talk shit.
I think boundaries is a huge one.
Boundaries.
Right. And again, like me deciding how people were going to treat me and not just allowing them to behave how they're going to behave. Kind of like you said, right? If you're not positive for me, then you got to go.
Right.
And I remember it was weird how there were sometimes that as strong as I am, that I allowed people to treat me a certain way.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I would, knowing you now, I would never expect that there's anybody that's imposing their will on you.
Right. Like, why would I put up with that?
Right.
But I put up with a lot of shit. Right. And so now I look back and I go, why did I do that? Right. And there was a moment I remember with and he was sort of a boyfriend, but a boyfriend, right? Where I was like, this is it. And that was a big moment for me where I was like, oh, I can walk away from people. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be their friend.
Right.
They don't have to be in my life. I can walk away.
Right.
I'm working a backfill shift. It's on a Sunday, October of 2022, and I'm working
almost a year ago.
Almost a year ago. Yep, coming up on a year. I remember it's Sunday, and the shift starts at 2 p.m., and I'm at the pumpkin patch with my family at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have a shift coming up. I'm with my son and my wife, and we're being a family. I'm being a family man who knows I am a police officer and I have a shift to go to, so I can go to work and earn money and protect the citizens and do all those things, right? But before that, I'm a father and I'm a husband.
Mm-hmm.
We're picking out a pumpkin and we're looking at this old fire truck, right, up in Round Rock. And it was a really cool morning, great weather. My son had a blast. And then Daddy's got to go to work. And so I'm working patrol, supporting patrol officers because they need help. They're short-staffed, just like many other detectives are in our agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working this call up off of Runberg, some disturbance, no big deal. And for those who don't know, aren't familiar with Austin, Runberg, the Northeast Austin area is notoriously busy and violent and dangerous. Drugs and weapons and shootings and stabbings and prostitution and all kinds of stuff. And so I'm working this call and another call comes out, guy with a gun, points it at someone at this apartment complex for whatever reason and takes off, and patrol finds him next door at this restaurant, this Mexican seafood restaurant, in the exterior patio surrounded by plexiglass, but he's outside on this patio, right? And, you know, by the time I clear off of my call, I'm down the street, down Runberg, and there's probably 12 to 15 cops out there. And hearing what's happening on the radio, they can see him. They see he's got a gun. He's smiling at officers. He's not listening. He's not coming out. The restaurant's packed full of people. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, and I remember saying out loud, God damn it, because I came from this active shooter background and SWAT background where I've dealt with this situation before. I have the training, I have the experience, but I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I've been through enough. When is it enough? I've been through enough. I don't want to go. But I also know our officers are young and inexperienced. No fault of their own. I was there once, but they're inexperienced. And I remember saying, God damn it, because I can't not go. I would have a problem with myself if I didn't go and cops got
Somebody got hurt.
killed.
Yeah.
And so I went. And I've taken this position behind my car with a straight on view of the front door of the restaurant. There's a emergency entry team position, you know, kind of down this way across the other end of the parking lot. And I'm there's some priorities of work that need to get done, and I'm trying to work with the sergeant we're not co-located, so there were some difficulties there. But we're needing to get things done, right? And trying to get somebody to find a back door, get these people out the back door. If he's by himself, let him hang out by himself, right? But the restaurant's full of people. Trying to get some stuff done, and fast forward, there's emergency entry plan in place. Me and a couple other officers were supposed to fall in behind this entry team. Somebody comes out of the restaurant, and so now this bad guy is not by himself. Not only does he have access to all these people in the restaurant, now there's somebody on the patio with him. He's not complying. This guy that comes out is not coming all the way out to get out of this dangerous situation. And this suspect fires off a bunch of rounds. And the guy in the patio wearing a blue shirt goes down, and I immediately think he just shot this guy, right? So what goes from a barricaded subject, armed barricaded subject essentially, turns into essentially an active shooter response. There are active shooter hostage rescue components to this barricaded subject incident. And I call rescue on the radio, and I start to traverse the parking lot. And though the plan was to fall in behind this team of officers, I find myself alone at the entranceway to the patio. And I'm using the pillar, right? I'm using my experience and I'm using my training, and I've got my rifle up, and I'm working this kind of environment looking for this guy.
Let me pause real quick. So I was knowing you were coming in today. I was watching the footage, the body cam footage and stuff like that that's out there for public access. Am I correct that the first body cam footage they show is you, and then the second body cam footage they show is, or no, then they show the surveillance cameras?
Yeah, there's security footage, and then there are 3 officers' body camera footage.
Okay,
mine being
3 different. Okay,
yeah, mine is one of them. So I come up, I'm using this pillar to my advantage to try to not get killed, and I'm working it, I'm pieing around, and he starts shooting again. And I can immediately tell, I've been around gunfire for years, I can immediately tell he is shooting at me. I see gunpowder in the air. I can feel the overwhelming overpressure caused by gunfire. And I remember just thinking, where's the muzzle flash? Where's the muzzle flash? I'm looking for his muzzle flash. I'm pieing, and I'm looking, and I'm working that pillar. And I come around the pillar, and I pick him up, and he's on his hands and knees. He's got this gun pointed in my direction, and I shoot him. Yeah.
Split second too. Like
that.
It was
there's no thinking. It goes back to what you brought up earlier, right? You're trained in a certain way, and if you have enough training and enough real world experience, it just happens.
Yeah, I was blown away. For everybody listening, imagine a square pillar being there, and basically it's like a standoff. One person on one side, one person on the other side, and they're both peeking around the corner to see each other. And the way you were able to, that quick, if not quicker, to get around there and get him and put him down was elite, for sure.
So he goes down, and you've got this group of officers here, and we start working through post-shooting priorities of work. There are things that need to get done, right? We need to get this guy into custody. We need to figure out who's hurt, who needs help, including him.
Mm-hmm.
We still have a responsibility to try to save his life when presented with that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to check on all these people in the restaurant, right? And so we're working through these problems, through these post-shooting priorities of work. Come to find out, he didn't shoot that guy. I think what happened, because me and Ken, first phone call after I walked away from that patio is to Ken.
Yeah.
You know, it's 11 o'clock at night or whatever it was. Hey, Ken, just got into shooting. I need you, buddy.
Here we go.
Comes
again.
right out. And by that time, Ken and Doug and Rob and I are all buddies. Like, these are our attorneys turned friends. Like, we've gone hunting, we've gone fishing together, we've gone to dinner and had drinks. These are our friends. These are our brothers. Doug and Ken are mine and Rob's brothers at this point. They are family.
Mm-hmm.
First phone call. Hey, Ken, I need you, buddy. Comes right out. We went and had lunch at that restaurant the next day so we could do a full walkthrough, right? I'm going to do a walkthrough with my attorney. And so I think what happened in hindsight was the first volley was at the officers, at that react team. He just didn't hit any of them. It wasn't at the guy in the blue shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He was uninjured. After the shooting, I helped him out of the patio and, hey, man, I need you to hang out. You're a witness kind of thing. Called Ken. And there's a couple things I learned from that shooting. I dissected the hell out of those videos. There are two things that really stick out for me, and I think this is important to talk about for those out there that do this job. I'm working this pillar. Well, so let me back up. I'm approaching. I throw on my light, and you can see from the security footage, he is waiting in ambush. Mm-hmm. His goal is to kill cops. Mm-hmm. And he sees this light get turned on, and he was originally looking for that group of officers that I think that he shot at, and he was going to ambush them. And seeing my light, he directs his attention towards me, and I think that saved those guys from eating some rounds. And then I'm working this pillar, and instead of just blindly turning this corner, which you don't want to do, I approach, I slow it down, I'm working the problem, and I think that he got impatient because he takes his attention off of this side of the pillar where he expected me to come from. He comes back over to this side of the pillar. And when I was working that problem, I remember seeing movement out of my peripheral and thinking, so we have these intrusive thoughts sometimes, right? Everything I did was instinctual, and I didn't have to think about doing it. But the things that did pop in my mind consciously, when I approached, I remember thinking, I'm all alone, consciously thinking that. And then in that moment, picking up something out of my peripheral, I remember the Dallas ambush during the BLM riots, where that guy outflanked an officer who was behind a pillar and murdered that officer. And I remember thinking, he's coming at me from over here.
Right.
So I paused, I take a quick peek, I don't see him. And it was him, come to find out from watching security footage. And so that pause saved me from eating rounds, because once he realized I wasn't coming over here, he turned his direction back over here and starts blindly firing where I would have been.
Right.
So that slight, hesitation saved me from eating rounds. And so he goes down. He's actually still alive today. We rendered some trauma care to him. I don't remember the officer's name. Came in and did a fantastic job, as we should do. The EMS came in, got him to the hospital. He's still, sitting in jail waiting. We're waiting for that to kind of flesh its way out with maybe a trial or whatever. And I get put on admin duty. That's standard for being in an officer-involved shooting. And I'm on admin duty for 3 or 4 months. And my wife's real mad at me. That was a hard conversation to have. Second phone call is to my wife. And all she knows is what it looked like the first time. Mm-hmm. She immediately thinks and asks, does that mean they're going to take your gun and badge again? Or you're going to lose your pay again? And I'm having to try to talk to her 6 minutes removed from being in a shooting.
Right.
And calm her down and like, I'm okay. It's not going to be like that again. And then I heard it from her, rightfully so, probably about a month later. She gave me some time. She gave me a few weeks, and then she let me have it. You didn't have to pick up that shift. You didn't have to go to that call. You didn't have to do that. You could have got killed. And she's not wrong.
Right.
You know, I don't think she's necessarily right, but she's absolutely not wrong. And so, you know, I had to deal with that.
Right. I feel like wives are very good at like waiting till the right moment and backing you into a corner to where you're only answered like, all right, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. You got me.
Yeah, her especially. I can't remember the last time I won an argument with her. So
I'm newly married, so I'm still winning right now.
Yeah. That'll change.
Right.
Yeah, and so she wasn't wrong. I don't think she was entirely right, but she's absolutely not
right.
wrong.
Perfect.
And so, you know, there's the fallout from that, right? Bad things could have happened. Fortunately, they didn't, but here I am on admin duty, right? And that's expensive. You know, now I can't go work out and pick up these extra shifts. You know, maybe you have to hire an attorney again. And so that all went down, came back to work, off of admin finally in February of 23, and have done my best to just pick up where I've left off. You know, I go out there and I work my required backfill shifts. Periodically, I'll, you know, pick up an overtime shift. What gets me there is the money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my wife and I we didn't realize it at the time, but when everything kind of kicked off in 2018, we had done a really good job, and this is important for people to understand. I want people to do this, is to the best of your ability, proactively become financially resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never know when something bad like this is going to happen, right? And then understand if something happens reactively, what you can do to continue to kind of circle those wagons. And so, you know, when I came back, we had some rental properties, refinanced them, right? So they're costing us less money. We changed insurance, right? Saved $1,100 a year. That's almost $100 a month, and added $1 million umbrella coverages for both of us, right? So there are all these kind of things that you can do that all add up. And we have very aggressive financial goals, right? I want to be retired. I don't want to do this job forever.
Right.
I've been through a lot. And so we've got these goals. And so I go out and I, you know, pick up these shifts, and we're putting money in places. And that's what I've been doing since I came back in February now. I'm going out there and trying to help.
Right. I want to ask you a question, because it hit me when you said it when we originally met, and if you don't want it in, we can always edit it out. But I remember asking you after you had told me that entire story, I was like, in a perfect world, would you go back to being on SWAT, or would you continue being a detective?
The fire will always be lit inside of me. And it's what oftentimes still drives me to go to these kind of high threat calls. Even though I prefer to not. 10 out of 10 would not recommend a lot of the things I've been through lately. But the team is different. The vast majority of the officers, there's been turnover. I still, when I think about the team, I'm stuck in the past. I see Rob J and Vinny over there, and I'm sitting next to Raf, and Judd is at the other end of the room being loud. And none of those guys are there anymore.
Right.
None of those guys. There's only a few that are left from when I was on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And while I know that I'm still capable of that job, I don't know that I could go back to that right now. If somebody came to me today and said, we have a spot for you, do you want to go back to SWAT? And there's no detectives on the team, but right? Let's just pretend for a moment. I don't think that I would right now. Maybe in the future I'll be ready to, if presented with an opportunity to go back as a supervisor, as a sergeant. But I don't think it would be good for the team, because I don't think I would be ready, and I don't think it would be good for me.
Right.
So that's kind of going to be a constant evaluation. Right now I'm focused on doing my job well,
Yeah.
right? Being a good detective, being a good officer, support officer when I'm out there working patrol. But above all of that, being a good father, being a good husband. We've got baby number 2 on the way. He comes next month, working to get everything set up for that. And so that's where my focuses are right now. When I'm at work, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. But my focus is on my family because that's what's most important.
Good. What would, looking back through that entire journey, what would you say is the most valuable lesson that you learned?
How resilient I was, how resilient I became, the truths that I learned about people, about the system, and all of the knowledge that I've gained. I've become a much better officer. I learned so much from Mark Sala, our use of force expert. I learned so much from Dave Gilden, our UT professor, expert in the field of cognitive psychology. Both of them, after trial and after arbitration, kind of took me under their wings and mentored me in their fields of expertise. I've become a much better officer. The resiliency is huge, though. Just how resilient I was. I thought I was weak. I was so weak. I had so many moments of weakness. I went to some really, really deep, dark places, places that if you act upon them, you can't undo it.
Yeah.
You can't come back from, right? And to make this decision to fight and get out of bed, find the right team, lean on your family, are all crucial. And realizing how resilient I was, how much stronger I've gotten since then, and what I've been able, the lessons I've learned and how I've subsequently been able to turn around and use that and help other people, other officers that were or are on the path that I was on. That's been really important to me. I've done a lot of that, working with guys, whether they be Austin officers or this guy out in Salt Lake City, Utah, canine officer that got indicted, and working and talking with him and just trying to help him down the path so that he doesn't do the things I thought about doing. Right. Those are all very, very valuable and important things and lessons.
Yeah, for sure. And for what my opinion's worth, I definitely think you made the right decision to fight. And if for nothing more than, dude, I promise you, there's going to be a day where you have a son, and the first one was a boy or girl?
A boy.
Boy, so you have 2 boys?
I'm going to have 2 boys.
Dude, they're going to look back at your career as a police officer, and when they truly get to the age where they understand, like, no, my dad stood up and he fucking fought for what he thought was right and stood up for what he believed in, what he did and stuff like that. I think that for me would make it all worthwhile.
I'm proud, and I'll continue to be proud. Yeah, I wasn't perfect. I made mistakes. I was weak. I drank too much. But I'm proud of the end result. Rob and I'm proud of Rob. So proud of Rob. I'm proud, and I will continue to be proud and of what we did and the honor that we still have, the good names that we have that people try to tarnish.